What's up, YouTube? This is Big Mike. I'm a little late, but better late than never. The big news this weekend was a little fight in Las Vegas between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. And as I feared, I think a video I did about a month ago, the fight didn't live up to expectations. It didn't. It was pretty listless. It wasn't action-packed, but it wasn't Herms Hagler or Gotti Ward. No, it wasn't anything like that. If you're a boxing fan and you're a fan of a fighter displaying impeccable defense, then it was exciting in that aspect. But if you're a casual, no, it wasn't exciting. And I want to address certain things that have bothered me this past weekend. All right. The first thing I want to address is the total and blatant disrespect toward Floyd Mayweather has received since that night. All right. I think the Vegas betting odds were 5-2 Mayweather. Yet these ridiculous polls had Manny, I think, close to 60% of those who responded out of millions of people thought Manny was going to win. And I saw another poll that said over 70%, which is pretty much the reverse of the Vegas odds. So that was telling me that when people were voting or judging the fight with their heads, as in the Vegas odds, they were going with the obvious choice, Mayweather, but a lot of people in their heart, I guess, wanted Manny to win. Wishful thinking. And the way that the crowd was so totally biased toward Manny Pacquiao was a little bit disgusting. I noticed that when I was looking at some of the undercards, a lot of the I just can't help from noticing. I noticed a lot of the nationalities close, that had ringside seats were Asians. I don't usually see a lot of Asians attend boxing matches. It was a little bit unusual, and you can decipher from that what you want to, I'm assuming they probably were rooting for Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao has a huge following across the globe, in particular his homeland, the Philippines, and in Southeast Asia. But the way that the crowd responded toward Floyd Mayweather, I remember after the second bout, which was a disgrace, the fucking guy fighting a goddamn cab driver or whatever the hell he is, an insurance salesman, and he still went the distance with the guy. The guy's a fucking bum. But after that fight, I noticed the crowd started chanting Manny. And we're in the United States. Something's kind of flipped up. Something's not right here. Floyd Mayweather is from the United States. But yet it seemed like with the exception of a substantially small portion of the population, the overwhelming majority of this country seem to be rooting for a foreigner. But yet these same people who were rooting for this foreigner will be quick to call me unpatriotic if I were to criticize vis-a-vis the war or certain policies of this country, drug policies. They'll call me unpatriotic, but they feel it's okay to root for a foreign fighter. But anyway, the fight, I thought it would be a little bit closer, but I thought Mayweather would win. But as the fight progressed, it was the same familiar pattern that I had seen time and time and time again. Floyd Mayweather's movement, his defense, the way that he slips punches. The guy is a defensive master, and I've seen some great defensive masters. You know, Chris Bird, Pernell Whitaker. I hear legends about Willie Pep, but I've never actually really seen him fight in a consistent manner. I mean, you know, he fought back in I believe the late 30s through the 50s. So, you know, I don't know too much about him, but of what I've seen, Floyd is up there as far as the greatest defensive fighters of all time. I almost have to say he's the greatest. I mean, and this goes back to, it's like every opponent that he faces, with very few exceptions, just cannot peg this guy. They can't land punches, and they get frustrated, and as Mike Tyson would say, befuddled. That seems to always happen. All right. Now, the next 2 points that I want to make are the things that affected me the most. Now, anybody who follows my channel knows that I'm not particularly fond of Mayweather. And those reasons why I'm not fond of Mayweather have to do with the man and not the boxer. All right. Now, some people are like, oh, well, how can you be fair if you don't like somebody? That has nothing to do with it. Journalists, you know, professional journalists, they all have their personal biases. But when you're a journalist, you have a responsibility to report things in a fair and honest manner. That's what you're supposed to do anyway. Although some people do not adhere to that. Policy. I try to be as fair as possible with Floyd Mayweather. Sometimes I do satirical videos, like the video where I just portrayed Floyd as a Nazi, but that's satire. That's not to be taken seriously. I don't think Floyd's a Nazi, all right? But some people just don't understand that. But anyway, one thing that really disgusted me was the level of disrespect and racism that I saw online after Floyd's victory. The way that the crowd jeered him, you know, it was almost, I know this sounds weird, but it almost kind of reminded me of the way that Saddam Hussein was jeered on his way toward being hanged. And I know that sounds like a weird comparison, but it really bothered me that here's a guy, American born, and the crowd was jeering him because he won. All right? And then you have the people who with the constant racial animus online, Twitter, different social sites, Yahoo. I mean, calling this guy all types of monkeys, niggers, whatever. And these are just some sad, pathetic people. 99% of racists are losers in life. They have accomplished nothing, and they use racial pride as some type of feeling of accomplishment when they had absolutely no choice in the matter of what their genetic makeup is going to be. So, you know, these people are disgusting, and they don't really mean anything in the long run of things. But I don't like the fact that people do not give Floyd Mayweather the credit that he deserves. All right? This is going back all the way toward, you know, after he beat De La Hoya. All right? Now, does Floyd Mayweather have the greatest resume of all time? No, but he's improved on that resume. All right? Time and time again, people have brought up fighters, and so this is the guy that Floyd that's going to show Floyd is not what you guys think he is. And time again, Floyd beats the guy. Whether it's, oh, you know, Sugar Shane Mosley's going to show everybody, you know, that Floyd isn't what they think he is, and then he easily dispatches of Sugar Shane Mosley. Then after that, they say, oh, well, he was old. All right? But once he get a hand of Cotto's going to really show what Floyd is made of. You know, and then he loses to Floyd. And Floyd actually was more offensively minded that fight. Same thing over to Ricky Hatton. By the time, you know, when he fought, oh, Ricky Hatton was washed up. Then later on, a guy like Robert the Ghost Guerrero, he's big, he's going to give Floyd problems, and Robert the Ghost turned to Robert the Mummy when they fought. Then Canelo's the guy that's going to do it. This is it this time. Canelo's the guy that's going to dispatch Floyd Mayweather and prove that Floyd is a fucking fluke. All right, he's a cherry picker. And then he easily dispatched Canelo Alvarez. Easily. Then he fought Maidana twice, defeated him, although the first fight was pretty close. He defeated Maidana. And then he's finally fought the guy that everyone keeps claiming that he was the guy that would beat Floyd Mayweather. And he easily dispatched Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, his career lands about 34% of his punches against Floyd, 19%. And he just really could not get off, during that bout. He just really could not get off. And then immediately after Floyd dominated Manny Pacquiao, here come the excuses. I hurt my shoulder. I thought I won the fight. I don't think the judges scored the fight correctly. And, the biggest one, if this fight was held 5 years earlier, Manny would have won. All right? People keep acting like Manny's the old washed up one when Floyd is nearly 2 years older than Manny. And all it would have done if you fought 5 years earlier, you would have fought an even more sharper Floyd Mayweather, a guy who was even better skilled 5 years ago and still had it. It probably would have been a 12-round shutout. Look, give the guy the credit that he deserves. All right, and when it comes to his resume, no, he doesn't have the best resume, but it's improved. And to my count, Floyd has beaten at least 5 Hall of Famers or potential Hall of Famers. That's better than a lot of people's resumes that even fight today. All right, and some of the people that are in the Hall of Fame don't have the resume that Floyd has. So I mean, you got to start giving this guy some credit, man. Floyd's that dude, man. Like I said, I don't particularly like the guy, and I can understand people still having criticism of him, but I'm having a hard time not putting this guy in my top 10 all time. I've had him in my top 20. Sometimes I'm tempted to put him in my top 15. I look at his record. I look at the way he's dominated. Out of 48 people that he's fought, right? Floyd has probably dominated at least 44, maybe 44 of those opponents. And the other fights were somewhat close. The Castillo fight and Maidana fights were the closest. That's unreal. That's unreal. And another thing I think about Floyd too is you can compare him to Muhammad Ali in one aspect. Ali, when he fought in the 70s, was very eroded as far as his physical skills. What won Ali fights was his ring savvy and his hand speed. He still had his hand speed up until near the very end, and had some of his reflexes, but his legs were gone. All right. Had Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier instead of from 1971 to 75, had he fought him from 1964 to 68 or something like that, those fights would have been close. With the reflexes, the legs that he had then, a lot of the fights that were close in the 70s would have been blowouts. The same way that people see Floyd Mayweather. Ali just lost a lot of his quickness as he went through his layoff, he put on weight and his legs got thicker and he lost a lot of his mobility and his ability to keep quote unquote running throughout the fight. But had he fought in the 60s, if he was still the guy in the 60s that he was in the 70s, if he was the guy in the '60s as opposed to the guy he was in the '70s, a lot of these classic wars would have been scorecard blowouts, and people have been wondering, well, perhaps did Ali fight in the most competitive era because he made everybody look so bad? You understand what I'm saying? Ali made Sonny Liston look bad. Ali made George Chuvalo look bad. Ali made everybody that he pretty much fought from 1964 to '67 look bad. Floyd Mayweather makes people look bad. It's not that he's in bad fights. It's just that Floyd Mayweather makes people look bad because of his exceptional skill. I think you have to say, man, Floyd is the most skilled boxer of all time. He's probably the most fundamentally sound boxer of all time. And you have to learn how to separate things. You know, like I said, I don't particularly like Floyd Mayweather. I know the media doesn't like Floyd Mayweather. But you have to give credit where credit is due. Now, as far as people talking about Floyd, this criminal record shit, all right? Floyd has about as much of a criminal record as many other athletes, all right? If you're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather being a criminal or committing criminal acts, and I have a tendency to bring these guys up, and I'll keep fucking doing it because it's a fucking good point. Why is Ty Cobb revered so much in this country? All right? The guy was a fucking cheater. All right? He purposely sharpened his spikes so he could maliciously wound his opponents. All right? But when he does it, it was because of his competitive nature. I'm going to be honest with you, if Floyd Mayweather was playing baseball and he did that, he's a monster, he's sadistic, and he's crazy and an animal. But Ty Cobb did the same thing. It was his competitive nature. Ty Cobb once beat up a handicapped man in the stands because he called him a nigger, which was an insult thrown back in the day. Like that was like talking about your mother back then. You know, that's like the lowest thing you could call somebody was a nigger or a half nigger or whatever, like you used to call Babe Ruth. And Ty Cobb allegedly, supposedly committed a murder back in 1912. But you don't really hear about that, do you? You know, the guy's revered. There's also, other instances where there are athletes who have criminal records or have committed criminal acts, and you don't hear about it. If Floyd Mayweather's, or not even just athletes, just people in celebrities in general. If Floyd Mayweather's a criminal, then what is Tim Allen? All right, look up Tim Allen, the comedian, the guy that plays Santa Claus, and look to see what he was known for in the '70s, and you'll be surprised. So my thing is, if you're going to call Floyd Mayweather a criminal because he supposedly got involved in a domestic dispute, that's something that happens every day in this country. Every day. All right? So stop with this shit. I'm sick of people distorting the truths and not telling things how the way they should be. All right? Give these guys the credit that they fucking deserve. Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Top. All right? I mean, the creme de la creme. And I'm going to start making videos defending the legacy of fighters and athletes who I think have not gotten the due recognition that they so duly deserve.